So I actually got this idea for the album when I was sitting by the New York Bay, which is actually right across the street from where I live right now in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. And I just see these huge cargo ships go by. So I thought about how the river transfers this culture around in a very similar way you get in St. Louis. You know, the waterways would carry all this different culture, and it created what I actually grew up in. So you've got New Orleans, which I draw a lot of funk influence. You've got Memphis, which has funk and blues. St. Louis, which has a lot of jazz and blues influence. Kansas City, which was sort of swing. Chicago, which is very influential for the blues. I imagined all these influences like countless rivers merging together before emptying into the ocean. The album, I guess, is like the mouth of the river. Tributary starts out rather sparse with just the drums. A melody comes in, which actually comes back in other parts of the album. And then the melody is harmonized and it just grows upon itself, and eventually you get into this large pulsing tune, and then it sets up the rest of the album. My name is Mizell. My band is made up of Brad Whiteley on keyboards and Kenneth Salters on drums. I met Brad when I was in Indiana University.
Cameron had a funk band in Bloomington, Indiana called the Eddie Goes a Seven.
He was playing keyboards and like organ and Fender Rhodes, and it was a great fit.
We became pretty close and we recorded his first album.
He's also great at playing the bass lines in his left hand, and as an organist he's also able to use the foot pedals when he's got them.
Actually, he used to play with bass players, and then I showed up and I started bringing it back to an organ trio.
Kenneth is a drummer that I met through Brad, actually.
This is my first Mizell album. I've been playing with him for a little over a year now, maybe a year and a half.
Kenneth is just a great musician as well, so anything I throw at him, he can really nail. Brad worked with him in a few other bands. They play off each other well, they lock in well, and that makes things easy for me, kind of playing on top of all of that, to have a sort of this rhythm section of just two people. Bottoms was one of the last tunes I wrote for the album. I wanted a piece that could feature all three of us, especially Ken's drumming. The tune is named after an area in St. Louis, near the Missouri River. There's a stretch of long, flat floodplains. I was a distance runner in high school, and when we'd go down to the bottoms, we could really stretch out and pick up the pace. That's kind of how I felt about this tune after I wrote it. It's a good vehicle for improvisation. In Mark Twain's memoir, Life on the Mississippi, he talks about the difficulties of navigating a steamboat down the always changing Mississippi River. The tune, it's got a few sections that are kind of turbulent and kind of dirty. It's got a few sections that are kind of laid back. So there's this contrast between, you have the smooth sailing on the river, and then you hit the rapids.
A mud clerk was basically an errand boy on a steamboat.
It's the guy that gets his, hands dirty. Mississippi Mud Clerk, the tune, it's all over the place, kind of like somebody who's got to do a little bit of everything.
While most of the music on this album is laid back, I'd say Swell is definitely pushing things forward. This tune is essentially about rising floodwaters. I witnessed the Mississippi River flood of 1993 in St. Louis, and saw just how powerful the waters can be. The Return is a culmination of melodic material from throughout the album.
One of the reasons why it has that uplifting, kind of hopeful vibe is the tempo and the key that it's placed in. It's the only tune that's in that key on the album, and the key that sort of contrasts what you get in Tributary, so it wants to kind of send you back.
It's exactly what it's saying. It's the return, and you should feel like you're home.